Hi, Stark.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Great. So first off, I know that you just had a birthday a bit ago, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
Did you get to do anything fun to celebrate?
You know what? I was working.
Of course.
That was fun.
Yeah. Nice.
The cast and the crew surprised me. There was a funny moment at the last take of the day. Well, I should start with this. At lunch, we were all in line for catering, and people sang me happy birthday, and they brought out a cake, carrot cake, which is my favorite, homemade carrot cake, and I was really surprised and moved. And then, 6 hours later, when we finished the day, in the very last take, scene ended, and Megan Good, who's my co-star, started singing happy birthday, and everybody in the crew started singing happy birthday, and I started singing happy birthday because I just assumed that somebody else's birthday, because they'd already sung happy birthday to me.
Right.
And so when we got to the part where it said happy birthday, dear, I was looking around for somebody to tell me who it was. Like, what name should I sing?
Right.
And everybody was laughing because they had turned the cameras and pointed them all at me. So they filmed this, and I suppose it may end up somewhere on some sort of reel when the season is over.
Of course.
It was a pretty funny moment.
Well, that's so fun.
Yeah, it was very nice.
And I know you sang in your high school choir, you had a garage band, you were on Broadway, earning a couple Tony nominations. Is the music theater world still a big part of your life?
It is, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's something that it put me in a new position career-wise. It also is something that I did back in high school and college, and that was my dream when I was growing up. Musical theater was the thing that really kind of kicked me off, and I thought, man, maybe someday I'll get to do this on Broadway. And then, one way or another, it happened. And the funny thing is, even though I started out in film and television right after college, and it took me, a number of years to get to Broadway, and I got there. But now, when I get cast in things, like this job, for instance, when the news gets released, it says, Broadway star.
Right.
Fans has been cast in Minority Report, and it's so crazy to me that is like language that they can actually use.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about me. It feels really good, and it's, I pinch myself.
Cool. And one of our blog team members wanted to make sure that I asked you how you got from Chasing Liberty to Broadway.
Let's see if I can connect the dots. Well, I got to Chasing Liberty in a way that really made me proud. One of my first jobs was on a sitcom called Lost at Home on ABC. And there was a director named Andy Cadiff who directed a few episodes of that show. And the show was a sitcom on ABC. It was about a family, and I played one of the teenage sons. And years later, I got a call from my agent saying, hey, actually that's not true. I got a call from this director, Andy, who we had traded information back when we were doing the first job. And he said, do you have a passport? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, I need you to fly to London because I'm giving you a little small part in a movie called Chasing Liberty because you're perfect for it. And it was the first time that I got an offer. I got an offer to do something. And it was because of because of the way that I had worked on that first job. Mm-hmm. He remembered me. And it really, it taught me that my work ethic had paid off,
mm-hmm.
And being responsible and professional, it worked.
Right.
So that was how I got to Chasing Liberty. Getting from Chasing Liberty to Broadway, let's see. I think work begets work. And the more you work, the more likely you are to work if you do a good job. There's a number of things that happened in between Chasing Liberty and Broadway, but one of them was a movie called Flags of Our Fathers that I did with Clint Eastwood directing. I played a soldier, a young, earnest soldier in a World War II movie. And when the movie came out, a casting director named Jay Binder saw the film and called my find a young Ernest soldier to be in this play, Journey's End, about soldiers in World War I. And would Stark ever be interested in auditioning for a Broadway play?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my agent called me and told me this, and I was just blown away that it was, that I even had an opportunity. So that was my first audition for a Broadway play. And I flew myself to New York, and I went in and auditioned for the job, and through a series of callbacks, I ended up getting it, and that was my Broadway debut.
That's awesome. That's so cool to hear that backstory. Thanks for sharing that. So Minority Report on Fox premiered September 21st, and there's really nothing else like it on air right now. What made you want to get involved in this specific project?
It's a funny question. I finished doing Kinky Boots. It's not a funny question. It's just it's a question that I get asked a lot. And the truth is, I'm an actor who wants to work, and I don't yet have that kind of control that allows me to just pick my projects. Mm-hmm. And so it was luck. I auditioned for a number of pilots this past January. This was one of them. This was a good fit. I know when I read it and I read the part, I thought this is something I can do. It's not much of it was a stretch in terms of character because he's a weird kind of quirky guy. Deep down, it's a role that I can play. And I got very lucky. I went through another series of very difficult auditions to get it, and I was the guy who ended up with the job. Mm-hmm. The appeal was that it's a movie that I loved when I saw it in the theaters, and Steven Spielberg's name is on it.
Right.
And not just as the guy who directed the movie, but as an executive producer of the series. So it's pretty awesome to know that I'm a part of his canon. Yeah.
And that was one of my next questions, actually. So Steven Spielberg, that's huge. What's it like working with him?
He's great. We've become really good friends. He's always calling me, and he's producing from afar. And
Gotcha.
I'm just knowing that he's watching all the dailies, and he's he picked me. He chose all of us, all the actors. We all the auditions had to go past his desk, mm-hmm. and he picked me, and that's pretty awesome.
Very
I remember having done Kinky Boots back in 2013. We always, if we want to know, the stage managers will tell us who's in the audience that night, if there's a celebrity in the audience. And I remember when they told me that Mr. Spielberg was there. I love it because it makes me want to do better. So I know that he's seen me before on stage.
Right.
And I remember when I took my bow at the end of the show, and you're high on adrenaline, and you're on the stage, and they're in the audience applauding. And I always try to find that person, especially if there's somebody who I admire. And after the show, when the show's over and we've all taken our bow and are walking off the stage, I always find them and I point at them and give them a thumbs up. Mm-hmm. And I always remember that he pointed right back at me and gave me a thumbs up. It's just this one fun little moment of connection. So I should say that I have met him. It was just in a different experience.
Yeah, that's amazing. Can you tell us quickly just a bit about your character, or maybe 3 words to describe him?
3 words to describe him. Earnest, driven, odd.
Yeah, those are good. And the show takes place in 2065, and there's so many cool special effects. What's that like getting used to? I know you don't see that all when you're acting, but maybe, afterward when you're watching. What's that like?
It makes it really fun to watch. This is the first job I've had where, even though I'm in most of the scenes in every episode, it still is completely new watching it when it comes out on Monday nights, because there's so much extra added in post, mm-hmm. and it's slick. It's really fun. You can see, all this futuristic stuff that we've imagined whenever we're doing it on the day that, our brilliant minds in the visual effects department have made into reality. And it's really fun.
Yeah. It's so fun to watch. Yeah. So I don't want to get my hopes up, and I feel like I probably know the answer to this, but can we get our hopes up about Tom Cruise guest starring at all?
You know what? That's another one that he.
Everyone asks. I know.
The funny. Well, he was actually just here.
Oh.
And he spent the night last night. We on Thursday nights. That's the night that we go out and ride motorcycles. All
Yeah,
night,
of course.
Our leather jackets.
Of course.
And so that's the reason I was late. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
So wait and see.
Okay.
You know what? Get your hopes up. Why not? Do it.
Good point. Good point. We'll do that. So what can we expect from the show, the rest of the season? I know you can't say a ton, but what can you share with us?
Well, I can say that the show, like any new show, finds itself in the first few episodes, which now we've seen. And starting in episode 4, the sort of procedural murder of the week aspect of the show becomes secondary to the larger overarching storyline of what is happening behind the scenes with the precogs. What's the deal with Agatha's vision? Is it real?
Mm-hmm.
And are we going to be thrown back into the milk bath? It's for me, it is like so enjoyable to do scenes that are about character and about discovery and about just getting into, like, acting wise, just little good, like, nitty gritty, like, chunky, meaty acting scenes,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to the procedural stuff, which is obviously very enjoyable for lots of people to watch, but ends up feeling similar to do the same scenes week to week about saving the guy who's
right.
the guy.
Right.
So I'm really encouraged to see that is the direction the show has taken and will take for the rest of the season.
Love it. Final question. We're an entertainment blog, so I have to ask, what are your favorite shows to binge watch? When you're not working, what do you love to watch?
Yes. Okay. I probably shouldn't admit this, but when my wife and I had our child 5 months ago, we were in the middle of a binge watch of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And we did not stop. So our sweet little boy has
his first memories or his first moments of life.
Maybe
yeah.
if not looking at the screen, listening to the sounds of zombie apocalypse.
That's amazing.
Because that was one that we had put off for many years that we finally watched, because my friend Alexander Breckenridge is on the show now, and I was like, well, now I have to watch it because Alex is in it. And that's one. I'm binge watching Portlandia right now.
Oh, so funny.
It's bite-sized. It's something I can watch. We only have a 30-minute lunch on this job,
mm-hmm.
and I can finish an episode during that time, and I'm watching it on my phone. I'm excited to watch Game of Thrones, and because I've read all the books, and I'm waiting for my wife to agree to watch with me.
That's great.
She's not into fantasy,
yeah.
So that's the one I'm looking forward to next.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to see what happens the rest of the season, and we are just really grateful that you chatted with us today. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you so much.